What's up, everyone? Welcome back. My name's Anthony. This is my channel, and I'm not in my shop. I'm actually off to the dealership yet again for more parts. I am headed over to Hassert Chevy, formerly known as Mall Chevrolet. Their parts department has let me down so many times, is why I do not use them for parts anymore. But it is Saturday. Saturday is, you ever see like those little teeny tiny baby firecrackers? They call them lady fingers. And then you see like the M80. An M80 is kind of what I consider how busy we were, explosive we were Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Saturday is a little lady finger snap with a fart. Yeah, we're not busy. This video is about don't get mad at your mechanic. Why would I say that? I have a very good customer who has been coming to me forever, and his family, and he needed an oil change, and this was holiday week and we were slammed, and there was just no way that I could take on another 20-minute job and max out my guys and myself past where we already were for today and deliver high quality, consistent service to the customers that were already there, including him, that I know that I could not provide the level of service that he deserves. Although he wasted a trip to my shop, which isn't the end of the world. So Rachel was overwhelmed with phone calls and work. The shops were busy. There was work outside, and Rachel already got the command at like 10 o'clock. We're done with oil changes. We can't take anymore. And you know, and Rachel knows, you know, that I have to tell her what the shop capabilities are, even though that she thinks, and she's kind of disconnected from what's going on in the bays, that at any point in time something can go south on 4 different jobs and add 10 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour, or 2 hours, or 3 hours, and just screw up the whole day. And we're not going to put the whole car back together and back it out to do oil changes and tire rotations. It just doesn't make productivity sense. So when this regular customer, who is actually a good friend as well, when he came in and said, "Hey, Rachel, blah, blah, blah," because we know everybody that's our regular customers by first name, wives' first names, all their vehicles, or children, that, "Hey, sorry, dude, listen, there's no way we're going to get your oil change done today. It's the holiday week. We're already behind. It's going to be impossible." So I could tell that he was a little annoyed as he walked out to the shop to speak with me, and he said, "Hey, you can't get to my oil change today." He didn't say it with a smile, and I'm like, dude, there's just no way. We're just so backed up. I just cannot do it. And sometimes I just can't push the staff past tapped out, maxed out already at 102 degree temperatures. Not only is it that outside, it's hotter in the shop, and the vehicles are 230 degrees in the shop. No air conditioning. So I just, executive decision is or not. So I could tell he was a little pissed. And he said, "All right, will you do it Monday morning?" So this was the holiday weekend. And I'm like, "Yeah, no problem. Come in for Monday morning. We'll take care of it." He doesn't show up. So this is the week after the holiday, right? That Monday he didn't show up. He shows up yesterday morning. I'm like, "This isn't Monday morning." He laughed. He's like, "You're going to be able to take care of it?" I said, "Absolutely no problem." At that point in time, we weren't buried Friday. We kind of were tapering off. But I want to deliver him best quality and service, not a rush job, and cost him an inconvenience day, and cost me an engine because I have to max my staff out. That is not a good thing. Not at all. Can't tell you how many vehicles that I see for rush jobs or inexperienced guys working on a car, that the customer went in for an oil change and a tire rotation, and their wheel fell off, or their wheel is falling off, or the drain plug is leaking, or the oil filter is leaking, or the underbody shield is falling out. That comes from a lot of different things. One, inexperience from the technicians doing it. Two, the pressure that that individual may or may not have been under at that point in time to get it done. Hurry up and get it done. I don't tell my guys hurry up and get it done on certain things. They said we talk about it, and I tell them what our goals and plans are, and if there's any issues, how are you guys doing? Are we meeting our time timelines. So I know how to manage the next flow of cars or the next job that comes in the bay. So yes, he was a little pissed, long-time customer, but if he understood why, all the reasons, then I shouldn't have to explain that to anybody on why I say, no, I can't help you today, or I cannot, or come back and do it this time. And there's a reason why, and it's not for some of the reasons that some of these consumers think that it is. It's not that way. It's a decision based on what's best for the environment at that specific time. And condition of the vehicle. So condition of vehicle would be oil change and tire rotation customers that are non-regulars, that are most of the time first-time customers, probably aren't getting good quality service where they normally were going, or they're just not that customer that actually repairs and maintains their car, and then that service provider no longer wants to do work for them. That actually happens. So I question sometimes why customers are drifting around. Oil change, tire rotation, dry rot, cracked tires. Negative, we're not rotating your tires. Customer got a little pissed off. Reason why we're not doing that, Mr. Customer, is I don't need you to have a bigger problem after you leave here. Well, I'm already identifying dry rot and cracked tires. That means that the rubber's compromised, and I don't need you getting a flat tire after you leave here and then calling me and say, hey, what did you do to my car? So I kind of just say, we're not doing it. You should take the advice of good mechanics. And if you question that, hey, send us a picture. We video and document and picture everything. Not only do I have a picture, but the service writer in the counter has a picture or a video all the time. You say, oh yeah, that's right, the tires are dry or out of crack. Maybe I better buy some tires. Pretty simple. So obviously I know he was, because his demeanor on the phone was, seriously, you're not going to rotate my tires? As serious as we said, no, your tires are dry rotting and cracked. Tires were good, we wouldn't question doing the job. Things are good, we don't usually have to say anything to you. If things are questionable or bad, we got to say something to you. Next experience is, that's a new customer. Why he wasn't back at his original oil change and tire rotation shop, that's all information to be undiscovered or discovered. Next situation, new customer. Referral, new customer. Tire lights on, tire leaks, oil change. Car in, visual inspection, oil change, car's checking out, all 4 tires are shot. The front edges are bald, dry rotted and cracked. Back ones are dry rotted and cracked to death. Mr. Customer, Mrs. Customer, no repairing that tire that's leaking. You actually need 4 tires. They're shot. Just do the oil change and fix the leak in the back tire. No, we're not going to do that. Customer got a little aggravated. I can't avoid it. We have to advise you properly. So I'm going to give you a scenario that just keeps us moving forward in this conversation. If I have in the past, in my many younger years of being naive and the customer is always right, take care of the customer. Patch or plug a tire that was compromised. Don't you know that I get a phone call shortly after or the next day that I don't understand why my tire is flat? That's why we don't do it. If there's any reason why the tire has issues, we're done. You need new tires, and that's that. And if you want to continue to drive around like that, or find a scab shop, because I know there's plenty of them out there to absolutely do that for you. But then you can call them when you're down the shore with your family on vacation and ask them why the tire that they worked on is flat or blew out. I'm not going to be that guy. So don't get mad at your mechanic, especially if he is a high caliber, good mechanic, and he comes recommended, right? He comes recommended for a reason, because he's that good, or he's good and he'll take care of you. But he's not going to sell you things you unnecessarily don't need, which is a common misconception in our industry. Your car does require maintenance, and maintenance comes in many forms and parts. Maintenance is something that needs to be done. Do you have to get a transmission service? You should be getting a transmission service. Should you be getting a coolant service or flush? Yes, you should be getting that. Brake fluid? Yes. All that. Filters? Yes. It's all a yes. Maintenance is part of what makes up your vehicle, no different than your body requires maintenance too. Think about it that way. This is not speaking negatively anyway to anybody. Don't get mad at your mechanic when he advises you to do something and he tells you, no, we're not going to do that. Your transmission slipping, thumping, and banging, and you just want him to do a transmission flush or service, that's a hard no for me. It's even a hard no for a transmission shop. There was another scenario the other day where I say there's a reason why some customers are hopping shop to shop to shop, some or many. And another one that comes to mind is a guy stopped in yesterday, and I've been hearing all I want recently, which is kind of weird. All I want is an oil change. All I want is a catalytic converter. I already know what's wrong. And that's a popular one. My mechanic said, I already know what's wrong. Like, your mechanic has no idea, and you were led down the wrong path for the proper repair overall. I just want a price on a catalytic converter. I already know what's wrong with it. And that's all I want. Okay? He doesn't realize that. Is your engine burning oil? Has it had a tune-up? Is it a GDI engine? Has it had a GDI? Is there carbon buildup on the valves? This guy is completely turned off from what we're saying. And I talked to April about this later on, about this exact situation. I call it the red flag. Now his red flag is waving. And I said, this is going to be a potential problem if he doesn't do things the way that we're telling him. All I want is a catalytic converter. Which catalytic converter? Manifold converter. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. This is how much it is just for the catalytic converter. This isn't even a brand new car. I don't even know if the flex pipe's good or there's other issues. All I want. Okay, we're going to meet your request, sir. It's $1,800 for that catalytic converter, and that's it, just for the converter and installation. I've been to 5 other shops. You have the best price. I actually was referred to you by somebody. Absolutely, because I'm the best and I'm an expert at what I do here. And I'm going to advise you properly. Again, not listening. I'll be back. Why isn't he getting it done at his regular mechanic, for one, regardless of what it costs? So what, he's a little bit more money than the next guy, or maybe he was less than the next guy. I think the story is we were the way lowest compared to all the other centers that he went to. And I hear this a lot, and I don't know if that's because shops are pricing things so far out of the park so they don't have to be bothered with the job, knowing a lot of these technicians know that that's going to be a comeback for many different reasons. Engine condition, consumer maintenance, oil consumption. If they price the job real high, the customer will go away. Believe that as a fact. He'll be back. But then when he comes back, I still have to do my job, which is, hey, your air filter's dirty, your throttle body's dirty. Have you tuned it up? Where's the receipt for the tune-up? Who did the tune-up? I did it myself. I have to pull a spark plug and check it to see what these spark plugs look like. And I've caught people lying, so pull the air filter out, the car's good, everything's maintenanced, air filter's completely nasty. You know, and if I do this cat and his engine has all these problems, he comes back and says the light's on again for the same problem. Now this guy's going to fight with me. Facts, because I've been down this road. But, you know, even though his regular mechanic, got to have a regular mechanic. You're not going to 5 different shops and getting things done. I don't believe that. My opinion is, I would go with my regular mechanic, and if he says he can't do the job, then of course I would go to, reach outside of who's been taking care of me, right? This guy's been taking care of me for years. He doesn't really do that type of work. It's not his wheelhouse. And there is guys who are exhaust guys. They're scared to death of broken studs and rust. I get it. But I was like 6th or 7th, and then by a referral, you're at the right place, dude. But you have to actually just listen to us. So all he wants can get him and I into an argument if I don't advise him properly in the past. And maybe he won't come back. I don't really know the answer to that. I need to lay down the baseline once I see this car because I don't know it. And just like Eric O from South Main Auto, if he knows that car is burning oil, we know a lot of cars are burning oil today. Majority of the cars we see are burning oil. That is not, the catalytic converter is a temporary Band-Aid fix. On top of it burning oil, all the neglected maintenance that's overdue or due, or never done, which is a pile of money. And Eric O said it best. No matter what this catalytic converter costs, right? If it's $200 or $10,000, if you don't fix all the root causes in front of the catalytic converter, that catalytic converter is a temporary Band-Aid. How long? We don't know. But he knows as well as I do, because he's an experienced guy, a trustworthy guy, that it is only a short matter of time before that car is back with the check engine light on again. No matter what the customer has spent for the catalytic converter alone. So don't get mad at your mechanic. And you should be rightfully so mad at some of these mechanics or technicians. There's a channel that I watch all the time, actually two mechanics, that they get shop cars from dealerships or other shops and pull the brakes apart and say, this car doesn't need brakes on. Only if the customer doesn't have a concern, right? Customer says, hey, my brakes are squeaky or squealy, they pulsate or vibrate. At a visual inspection, if you don't hear anything, you could advise the customer that to put brakes on to address their original concerns or needs. Could recommend. You don't have to say, hey, you absolutely need them. But if the customer's complaining about brake noise or vibration or moans or groans, there's many different things your brakes could audibly and physically transmit as feedback to the driver with its sounds and feels, that could warrant a replacement. I could tell you some technicians, supposed technicians, that I tell that brakes are pulsating. Well, how bad are they pulsating? Does it matter? It's pulsating. There's a problem in the braking system. Doesn't matter how thick are the pads. That means nothing. It means nothing. You ask me what's wrong with the brakes are pulsating. Do you want me to move forward? Well, what does it need? Well, obviously it's going to need a new set of pads and rotors, provided there's nothing else wrong. Whatever axle, maybe all four. Well, how thick are the pads? That doesn't matter. We're not going to go in there and put old pads on new rotors. You know, I hear that situation too. When you say no, it's no for a reason. I don't pad slap cars because there's a reason why. It's not because I'm trying to be greedy. I'm trying to provide a level of service and quality to the customer and myself that works for everybody. And that's where, Kenny said, plenty of other shops around here you can go to. I say that to plenty of other shops around here you can go and have a bad experience at. Want a good experience? Open your eyes, open your ears, listen, and understand what's going on. Don't get mad at your mechanic.